Your vehicle's preventive maintenance program is the key to many trouble-free miles of driving for you and your family. Hello, I'm Denny. This is my partner, Lori, and welcome to Service Talk.
Preventive maintenance saves you money, and we're here to show you how. Today, we'll be discussing how your vehicle works and how these services are performed right here in this facility.
Service Talk is coming up next.
Just when you thought it was safe to turn on your air conditioner, you discover it's alive.
Okay, so we're not really talking about the return of the Swamp Thing, but the fact is your vehicle's air conditioner is an incubator for mold and mildew.
Why? Because all the conditions are favorable to promote these allergens. For more, Dr. John will talk a little bit about how your vehicle gets cool.
When you put your hand up to the vents of your air conditioner, you feel cool air, right? Well, more accurately, what you're actually feeling is the air after the heat and moisture have been drawn out of it. Your vehicle's air conditioner consists of 4 primary components: the compressor, the condenser, the evaporator, and the dryer. This sealed pressurized system contains a refrigerant gas, which collects heat from your car's passenger compartment and transfers it to the outside of your car through a continuous cycle of operation. The hot air also has a lot of moisture in it. As the evaporator collects all that heat and moisture, it's also creating the ideal environment for growing molds and fungi. In addition to what naturally grows in your evaporator, you can also have twigs, leaves, and dust that blow in through the air vent with the outside air and accumulate in the evaporator.
The house smells funny.
I know. Housetosis.
This is kind of like your home air conditioner, and why your home air service program includes cleaning the buildup on the evaporator.
But words are not enough. Prove it with a demonstration.
Exposing a clean Petri dish to air from an average AC system for just a few seconds will look like this several hours later.
Over time, these nasty little mold spores grow and are blown back into your car in concentrations significant enough to cause headache, dizziness, irritated eyes, and strong odors.
Whew. So, the sooner your AC system is cleaned, the sooner you'll be breathing easier.
There was a time when the only thing your service technician could do to remove the mold is to take your air conditioning system apart and clean it. A long and involved process that costs a lot of money.
The good news is we can now clean the air conditioner without disassembling it. Using this special cleaning process, we are able to remove the surface contaminants, which help spawn airborne contamination in the air conditioner. The entire system is then safely disinfected with a biocide and fungicide, reaching all of the places air does in your vehicle's air conditioning system and interior cabin. Here's a time-lapse look at just how effective the treatment can be at eliminating the growth of the mold. As you can see, this service eliminates traces of mold and fungal growth. In fact, the air in your vehicle will be immediately cleaner than the air outside your vehicle.
But foul odors aren't the only symptom of an AC system needing service. Improper cooling or erratic noises are signs of inadequate lubrication or low levels of refrigerant. Here again, if neglected, the system may require costly repairs. The good news is, if these problems are caught before serious damage is done, these costly repairs can be avoided.
Noise is probably going to be the first indication you'll have that you need this service. Specifically, you'll hear a loud squeal and possibly a clacking sound when you operate your air conditioner. If you're noticing these symptoms, talk with your service representative.
A highly effective lubricant can now be added as a part of your regular air conditioning service. It protects metal components, prevents corrosion, and eliminates noise.
All of these services are very inexpensive and on an average can lower the interior's cooling temperature by 4 to 5 degrees. It will give your vehicle's AC system a fresh start, and that means a breath of fresh air for you.
Be sure to ask for literature on these 3 air conditioning services at your service counter while you're here today, and be cool. We'll be back in a moment.
Attention all vehicle owners. The BG Products 150,000-mile protection plan can be free for your vehicle. You've heard auto experts for years say that BG Professional Maintenance Services available in this shop will protect your vehicle's cooling system, power steering, engine, transmission, driveline, and brake system from failure when used at each regular service interval. Well, it's just not good advice. It works. That's why we stand behind these services with a free 150,000-mile protection plan. Some restrictions apply, so ask your service rep about the BG 150,000-mile protection plan today.
Hello, and welcome back to Service Talk. I am so charged up about this next segment.
And I think your excitement is contagious. In fact, the transfer of energy is the topic of this battery service segment with Dr. John.
Remember when you did this in science class? Well, it's easy to see why I couldn't volunteer for this demonstration. What's happening here, of course, is that electrical energy is being transferred from the generator to the volunteer. Now here's another place where that same transfer of electrical energy is happening every day, on a car battery that looks like this. What has happened to this battery is that a buildup of corrosion is formed on the posts. The corrosion robs your battery of efficiency and runs it down prematurely. What can you do about it? Glad you asked. Ask your service representative about our quick and easy battery service. They'll clean the posts with a special cleaner designed to dissolve the corrosion. Next, they'll put a specially treated pad around the base of the terminal to prevent future corrosion buildup and future problems. Because you don't want to be stranded with a battery that's been prematurely drained of its energy. And as a final step, a sealant is applied to the post to seal out moisture and air, which also contribute to corrosion. Then you'll be ready to go. Of course, there might be times when you wish for a little less energy, too.
Let's take a look to see what these have in common.
These are all examples, some more normal than others, of heat being transferred and then released or radiated into the air. That's the job performed by your vehicle's cooling system.
What is the cooling system, and why is it important to the operation of your vehicle? Well, it's not the part of your vehicle that keeps it comfortable on a hot summer day. That would be the vehicle's air conditioner.
Your vehicle's cooling system actually has more in common with those heating devices you see in some very old buildings called heat registers or radiators. In those buildings, the boiler in the basement transfers heat in the form of steam up to where it radiates warmth to a chilly room. But in a vehicle, it's not giving off needed heat to the radiator so much as it is getting rid of unwanted heat. In fact, the heart of your vehicle's cooling system is the radiator.
And we've got Dr. John standing by to show you exactly what the radiator does and how it does it.
Thanks, Denny. Well, this is where you'll find the radiator, and this is what it looks like. And here's how it works.
In physics, you'll learn how the cooling system carries off the heat.
A car's engine generates a lot of heat from the internal combustion that creates its energy. Unless that heat has somewhere to go, it will simply build up in your engine and cause severe damage to engine parts. The radiator transfers that heat out into the air, but in order to do that, the heat has to have a way of getting there. That's where the coolant, somewhat confusingly known as antifreeze, comes in. This fluid is a mixture of water, dye, and a chemical called glycol. Ethylene and propylene glycol not only help prohibit freezing, they also increase the fluid's boiling point and help transfer heat. As the hot coolant circulates through the radiator core, heat is conducted to the outer surface made up of hundreds of these aluminum fins and dissipated into the air. Now, as you can imagine, having a lot of water and glycol sitting inside a lot of metal with temperature extremes over time is a formula for corrosion. Now, your service technician can detect the amount of corrosion with these pH strips. Now, if the word corrosion doesn't cause you to stop and think of it as dissolved engine. Now, when the flow of this coolant in your radiator is choked off by a buildup of corrosive deposits, your engine will overheat, and that means you can burn up a lot of money with it.
Thank you, John. And that's why you need to do 3 things regularly: clean, flush, and replenish the cooling system so that it will continue to resist corrosion.
And regularly, in this case, usually means about once every 2 years. The service center here can test your coolant for you to tell you if it needs to be serviced.
Our cooling system service uses a power flushing feature to guarantee all the coolant is replaced with new. That's a distinct improvement over the old drain and refill procedure that left about half of the old used coolant still sitting in the engine.
The cooling system service doesn't take long. Don't put it off. Because just like Old Faithful, when heat builds up, it will be released somewhere, and we would really like to avoid the possibility of you and your vehicle becoming a roadside attraction. So ask your service technician about the cooling system service today.
The program you're watching and your service facility are dedicated to the idea that driving should be a fun, safe, and pleasurable experience. That's why we perform preventive maintenance services. To prevent things like being locked out of your car, flat tires, or being stranded for any reason, we provide a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week complimentary roadside assistance program with specific maintenance services. Ask your service representative for more information.
Hi, and welcome to another segment of Service Talk. My name is Denny.
And I'm Lori. And to get things started, Denny, I want you to take a look at this. This is one of those little cars that you rev up backwards and you let it go and...
Call your insurance agent.
The point is, this little toy helps to demonstrate one of the very important but often overlooked components of a vehicle, called the driveline.
Or you may also know it as the drivetrain. It's that part of the vehicle that converts the energy generated by the engine into the mechanical movement that turns the wheels and makes the vehicle go. In this service facility, we are always concerned about the condition of the fluid in every automotive system. The driveline is no exception.
To find out why, let's put drivetrains on the rack.
When a lot of people think about what makes a vehicle go, they think engine. But the engine is just the first part of that process. The other key parts of the drivetrain include the transmission and the differential. Now vehicles can come with the differential in the front or the rear, or in the case of four-wheel drive, in both the front and the rear. What the differential has in common with the engine is a need for lubrication. After your engine does its work, creating the combustion that drives the pistons up and down inside your engine, that up and down motion is transferred to your transmission, which in turn sets in motion the gears in the differential. And the differential then turns the axle, which turns the wheels, which makes the world go around your vehicle. To do that, though, there's a lot of metal engaging a lot of other metal inside your drivetrain, and that's where lubricants come in. They're lubricants that flow through your drivetrain for the same reason they flow through your engine, to prevent the friction that wears down the metal components of both. The good news is there are fewer deposits that form on these parts as compared to the crankcase, but the lubricants still are exposed to heat and friction and therefore have a limited life to them. They only last so long, and the drivetrain, just like a real train, has to be in sync or you're not going very far.
Thanks, John. Which is why we need to change the lubricants in the drivetrain every so often. Now, the owner's manual recommends we change the fluid in the rear differential and both the front and rear differential on four-wheel drives, as well as the fluid in a manual transmission, generally at the same mileage intervals.
And that mileage interval depends on the type of vehicle you have, where you drive, and how you drive. For example, do you use your vehicle for towing, or do you have a lot of stop-and-go city traffic?
That sounds like a good thing to discuss with the service rep.
And one thing the service rep will tell you is that it's not necessary to change the lubricant as often as the oil in the engine. But if you just ignore it, what you're going to eventually notice is some noise coming from the drivetrain, a howling or whining kind of sound typically. But that's kind of like waiting for the oil light to come on before you add engine oil. That is really pushing it.
It's not only important how often this service is performed, but how it is performed. The problem is that it's difficult to get all the old fluid drained from the differential before you try to put in the new. We use a method of extracting virtually all the old fluid before the new goes in. This new method means we really know what kind of protection we've got between those moving parts. And speaking of protection, we use the highest quality lubricant available.
Which means your drivetrain is going to perform better and last longer.
So the bottom line on the driveline is to watch your odometer and get it serviced at the right intervals for your driving conditions. If you have any questions about our driveline service, ask our service representative here in the service center.